welcome. I am Ethan from Tringularity Gaming. Actually starting a new series. Whoops. If I just come out of third person there. Yes, I am Ethan from Tringularity Gaming, and I am starting a new series on space engineers, which is a sci-fi sort of indie game on Steam. I'll just pick up these components here. That is currently available for you to buy. It is in alpha, but for an alpha game, I think it is it's probably one of the best alpha games I've played to date. So basically, Space Engineers has two game modes on it, which are creative and survival. Creative, as you can probably expect, means things like unlimited resources, things like you can't die, you know, you get the picture. Survival mode is a bit more in-depth, requiring, everything requires materials to build, and the building mechanics are also different. Excuse me. And this is what I'm going to be doing the series on. So this series is going to be on survival mode. Now, I am playing on a template, which you can, if you create a world, you'll soon figure it out. You have several templates that you can start off with. This is, I believe it's called Easy Start 1. So it's basically some kind of asteroid station with an unknown purpose. A few landing pads on the station, and a couple of large and small ships. The small ships are actually fighters, but this is a fighter that I had some spare resources available, so I decided to reconfigure it into a small mining vessel. Because one of the main things in survival is acquiring uranium. Because to do anything on a ship or station in Space Engineers, you need power. You know, it's kind of logical. And you get power from these things, reactors. You get two versions. This is a small reactor. I believe there's also two large reactors through here. And that is a large reactor. I don't know if you can see that, but it says 3 by 3 by 3. That's obviously the volume it takes up. And the small reactor is 1 by 1 by 1. I believe the measurements in the game are 1 meter cubed. Or is it 2 meters, I believe, on a large ship. 2 meters, I think, on a large ship. So, uranium is quite an important material. You may have just seen me there unloading some uranium from my small mining vessel. I did do some mining beforehand. I mean, I don't want to bore you people with that. So now, the next stage in creating fuel for the reactors is to actually refine the uranium at a refinery. And the refineries are all the way on the other side of the station. And I have turned on auto-saving because I have had a history of corrupting worlds. Yes, this is a refinery, but I am on the wrong level. And I actually did pass a refinery, which I forgot about. So I'll run back here, for convenience sake. No, this is a refinery. You can interact with, like, objects by going up to sort of, like, the hatch on them, and pressing K by default. And that will bring up the terminal menu here. From here, you can sort of interact with the station and things. So here, if I go into the control panel, I can see all the controllable modules inside the in the station, like thus. So what I'm probably going to start. So what I've basically done there is I have put uranium and iron into the refinery. It will refine things in order of things that are to the left. So it'll refine whatever is most to the left, then it'll move the whole stack down once that's been refined. So it's a pretty simple station, but it serves the needs for now. Now, building resources in this game in survival mode, it's different to creative mode. In creative mode, it's sort of like Minecraft. You just sort of place blocks down and they are there by magic. In here though, when you place a block down, I'll just use a light armor block for example, it would say I need steel plates to build the light armor block. Now if you'll see in the bottom right hand corner of my screen, there is a small sort of overlay that's come up telling me what block it is, what components are required, and the number of components required. Now I'll show you this later, but if I go into this cargo container and store these modules up using double click by default, I'll take some steel plates out, and by pressing 1 on the keyboard I can select it, and if I left click it will place down a block like so. Now you'll see it's a wireframe block and it doesn't look like any of these, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to it. Now you'll see the overlay to the right has slightly changed. You'll see I required 1 steel plate to place down the original framework, which shows up there, and now I'm going to use the welding tool to attach more components onto the block. You can see here. Now I've just about reached the sort of red line, which is known as the function line. Now, provided components are welded on to above this level, then the block will function. There we go, and it's been made a full block, as we can see. Now, deconstructing a block in creative is as simple as right-clicking on the block. But, sort of like Minecraft in here, you'll have to use a tool to break it. So we're going to use the grinder, which you can see is actually taking components off the block. Now, I should probably start explaining the left-hand side of the screen. If you look in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, we actually have sort of like the stats. So we have the position I'm in, standing or crouching. My health is below it, which is at 70%. I should probably go and get that fixed at a medical bay. The status of my jetpack, the status of my inertia dampeners, and the status of my lights, whether they're turned on or off. Then under that we sort of have another set of stats. So mass. The current mass, which is largely determined by what you have in your inventory at the time, and I've just realised this has got to be very boring because I'm just wandering around with nothing to do. So I'll go do some mining. Now, as you can see, there we have my speed. Now I've just hit Y, which turned on the reactors there. Now, the landing gears, because of the strip around them is green, that shows that the landing gears are locked. So if I press P by default, which will unlock the landing gears, they go yellow. That shows that it is possible to actually lock the landing gears to the object you're next to. So I'm just going to thrust upwards using F, and then forwards. And then I'm going to travel to a nearby asteroid. Like so. Right, you may be able to see these sort of like these little icons popping up saying platinum, silver, various different minerals. Now this is due to the little ore detector that I have on my ship, which sort of looks like the little oval block. You may be able to see it there. And this basically detects ore within a certain range. The range depends on whether you're in a large ship or a small ship. So since we have some uranium, I'm going to start acquiring some other commonly used materials. Like nickel is one. So, about using ship modules, if you want to use a ship module, you press G, which is the toolbar config, which is what you saw earlier when I was actually getting the light armor block. Or actually, I don't believe I showed it off. So, as you can see here, I'm just holding down left click, which is making the drills run, and I'm just moving the drills around the block. slowly grind them. And as the drills grind away at the rock, they'll actually pick up the minerals from it. So it sort of like picks up the minerals and stores them. However, you will notice little chunks of the rock being given off, which actually can amount to quite a bit. But it is a bit tedious to pick all of them up. And I should actually be going over sort of how to avoid that in a later episode. Right. I've just changed my camera's perspective by using the V key. And as you can see here, I'm just mining away. So I can turn on the spotlight here, which will cause a bit of lag. But the spotlight is quite useful for lighting up areas where you may not be able to see as well. It's a light, it's a bit self-explanatory, really. So as you can see, I've just sort of mined away. Now I'm going to stop. I'm going to press K and go to the inventory tab. And we should be able to see what is currently in the hold. The holds. So as you can see, we've got iron, uranium, and nickel. Some small amounts of nickel. So as I was saying before about the stats on the left hand side, sorry, I get sidetracked very easily. You'll see that we actually have the speed, which is sort of like your speed when you're on EVA, extravehicular activities, or just sort of like when you're walking around. Now, I'm going to turn off the spotlight here. Underneath that we have the energy. Now, your suit has a certain amount of energy, so batteries, which obviously it requires energy to keep your sort of like your life support online. Obviously, using things like tools, running, using a jetpack, things like that, all affect how quickly your energy drains. Now, there are some ways to recharge your energy. One is by doing what I'm doing now, sitting in the cockpit of a powered ship. Will recharge your energy passively. At the same time, putting a drain on the ship's reactor power. You can use a medical beer, which will actually restore your health and your energy. There's actually quite a lot of entities here, so I'm going to sort of move away because they're causing lag. I probably should have turned down the entity count. Please do excuse the lag. Underneath, so yes, that's another way to recharge your energy. Underneath that we have the volume level, which it basically tells you how full your inventory is. Now, on the options for the world generation, I actually set it to I set my inventory capacity to 10 times the realistic amount. So I can hold up to 4,000 cubic liters, as it's measured in the game, of stuff, basically. I'll use that word. Of stuff. So as I'm just gonna come down, set the ship down on the landing pad here. And then turn off the reactors to conserve the uranium. So that was sort of like a very quick and off-the-side introduction to mining. And I will clean up the world after this, just to reduce lag. So if I go in the cargo container, you can see I have access to things like iron and uranium. So basically, the way the conveyor system works is that anything that gets drilled up by the drill, that's incorrect terminology, but nevertheless, automatically gets passed in this conveyor system. So we have some conveyor blocks, some conveyor tubes, which will then feed into the small cargo containers here. This this helps add some storage, which of course is rather important on extended mining trips. But as you can see, they filled up rather quickly. Now I'm gonna, and if there is an overflow, all the resources will be stored in the drill. Now I've actually reached my volume limit here, so I'm going to go and pour all of this into the refinery. Okay, this lag is a bit more severe than I thought, so I am actually going to pause recording at the moment and then resume recording after I have fixed them. Okay, I'm back, people, and I have solved the lag problem. I basically turned the maximum of floating objects, so sort of like objects that are just floating around doing nothing, to I reduced it to about 20, and it was on 256. It may have been a bit overkill reducing it by that much, but nevertheless I just wanted to be sure. Okay, so as you can see there, I just offloaded several units of ore into the refinery, and now I'm going to go back to the ship. Excuse me, sorry, I do apologise for this. My stomach's been acting up a bit today. Of course, once I have the resources, I can set up a system on the station which will automatically do this for me. Ah! Now actually, I don't know if you can see that sort of like tag there, which is basically a beacon for a mining carriage. Now, mining carriages are sort of like, if you can imagine, like a cargo train. Not like a train as in choo-choo, sort of like a long ship with several cargo containers, with defences. You can probably get the idea. So, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to bring the ship here for my own purposes. Well, currently in the game, all these ships are actually abandoned, and the defences do not actually fire on you. Unless, of course, you have placed a decoy on your ship, in which case any Gatling turrets mounted to the ships will automatically track and shoot the decoy. So I'm actually going to turn the inertia dampeners off, and I've reached the maximum speed in the game for a ship, which is 104.5 or 104.6 meters per second. And if I turn the inertia dampeners off, it basically means that I don't have to continually keep thrusting forward. I can just glide in on my original inertia, which conserves uranium. Excuse me. As you can see here, we're sort of approaching the vessel, and you may be able to see a green line coming off the vessel there. That is actually the sort of like tracking guide, sort of like the laser tracking guide for the Gatling turret, which you can see below. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disable my inertia dampeners, slow down. So, I'm just sort of manoeuvring my ship here close to a landable surface. I'm going to come down. This is rather hard because, unlike most landings, I don't have the inertia dampeners turned on. Because you'll notice, if you look at my speed, that I'm actually travelling at 25 meters per second. That's because the ship is actually gliding. Not having the inertia dampers on is a major advantage in this sort of situation, because of things like this happening, and of course, as I mentioned before, conserves energy. But it can be a bit fiddly, because it means you have to sort of like slow down going in one direction, or just keep on going in that direction forever. Right, I'm going to hit Z to turn on the inertia dampeners for this ship. Now, as you can see, it's sort of like some kind of docking module at the front there, with landing legs, some spotlights, and some big thrusters on the back. So what I'm basically going to do is, now that I have this vessel... Oh dear. That is not good at all. Oh dear. Well, that could be slightly problematic. I may have just lost my mining ship. However, I'm sure I can acquire enough resources by salvaging other ships at the station to build a new mining ship. So as we approach on our way back to the station, okay, so there is the ship. So we now have the ship, and I'm actually going to come around to sort of like this docking area here. Sorry for my lack of speech during this specific part, but I'm concentrating. Okay, I believe I'll just leave the reactors on the ship like that. Mainly just so that if something knocks into the ship, the ship doesn't get knocked massively off course and float off into space. Now, I shall just check on the refinery. Okay, so we have rather large sum of uranium there. So actually take this nickel and reprocess it in a separate refinery, which I do believe actually salvaged that one. But there is 3 refineries on the station that I know of. That is including the one that I just salvaged. this one is on top. There we go. So, I think I should probably end this sort of intro episode, which seemed like it was botched together very poorly, probably. So I'll end this episode here. Good day.